Okay, wanted to do a video here on theodolites. When I was recently making my video on James Glacier and the observations that he took at high altitude when aeronautic sciences first came to blossom in the 19th century, and we have this massive amount of datum that they left us from the observations that they made, the heliocentrists will dismiss it all through their theory of theodolites. They will say, well, since Mr. Glacier did his observations using the car of his balloon and not a sophisticated theodolite, therefore his observations are moot. And I would like to make this video in reply to that ridiculous moving the goalposts excuse and butthurt bitch-made cowardice coming from the heliocentrists, who refuse to acknowledge any evidence against their belief, and no matter how much evidence is given to them, no matter how many criticisms and refutations we make of their belief system, they will refuse to concede a single point, because they are liars, and they would have to admit their whole life is based on a lie, and that they and their tradition have murdered countless millions of people for their baseless theories and their butthurt. So this is again from Travels in the Air by James Glacier, Camille Flammarion, and Tisander, and I'm on page 99 of the work where Glacier is going to talk to us about how he made his measurements of the horizon, how he was able to determine that the horizon did indeed rise to eye level, as I documented from the recent video on the aeronautical testimony. Again, quotation, appearance of the Earth viewed from a balloon. All perception of comparative altitudes of objects on or near the ground is lost. Houses, trees, the undulation of the country, etc., all are reduced to one level, and even the lower detached clouds appear to rest on the Earth. Everything, in fact, seems to be on the same level, and the whole has the appearance of a plane. Remember, he talked about how that was artificial. I pointed out how that's from Job, which is Elohim clearly describes his true creation by showing that he had placed a line upon the earth, and that there was lines do not come about by natural processes. They are products of an agent acting, and I maintain that is a prima facie evidence that the earth is created of special creation, is that straight horizontal line that we see, that aeronautical scientists saw in the 19th century, and that we see at high altitude balloon footage that isn't manipulated by barrel distortion, which pretty much is, from what we've learned from David Lynch, no camera. But I've seen at the top of a very high mountain at 7,000 feet the Great Line stretching, and I do believe in the true divine creation. Everything seen looking downwards from a balloon, including the clouds, seems projected upon the one visible plane beneath. Always, however great the height of the balloon, when I have seen the horizon, it has roughly appeared to be on the level of the car, though of course the dip of the horizon is a very appreciable quantity. Again, that's theory. He's a heliocentrist, so he's having to make concessions to his brethren here. But he's just saying, I believe that the horizon's dropping, but from what I'm seeing, it's not, right? Or the same height as the eye. Again, these are, I'm just making quotations here, not taking anything out of context, just citing the scientific document. You boys are butthurt. You can't answer a single syllable out of my mouth, and you see these are all scientific observations made by professional scientists in your tradition admitting these things. Look, dude, if you can't face reality, man, get off the internet, man. Like, just stop the truth-seeking thing, man. Just go make money and try to enjoy your life, man. Because, you clearly don't care about facts, okay? I have had these dudes, like, because I'm quoting them saying the horizon rises to eye level and stays the same height as the eye, they're saying I'm misinterpreting what he's saying. No. Dude, citing a document is not an interpretation. It is a citation. Okay? You're trying, you want to play, and if you want to like pick up some book to try to like fuck with me on the meanings of the word citation and interpretation, I would love for you to do that, because I spent years of my life poring over textual criticism of the Bible, and you will face, when scholars deal with manuscripts, there's a difference between, and translations of those manuscripts, there's a difference what's called dynamic and formal equivalence, all right? And that has everything to do with citations and interpretations. So if you want to play that game with me, which I know a lot of you pieces of shit will try to play with me, please try that. Please. Try and play a game with me on the meanings of interpretation and citation. Please, I'd love to. I'd love to go with you on that. From this one might infer that could the earth be seen without a cloud or anything to obscure it, as that point of the plane beneath is directly under the eye, and the boundary line of the plane approximately the same height as the eye. The general appearance would be that of a slight concavity, but I have never seen any part of the surface of the earth other than as a plane. God, it's got to make y'all so mad. You're probably cussing at your computers right now, trying to find any excuse you can, whatever mental gymnastics you can to get around these damning citations. Now, again, we have from page 267 with von Weil. He is making a citation from this man. His name's M. Nadar. Who is M. Nadar? M. Nadar is a man named Gaspard Felix Tournicon. He was a pioneering balloonist and one of the guys who pioneered surveying from a balloon using optical imagery from a camera, and he had a problem with theodolites. He called them doubtful instruments, as you can see from page 267. No more triangulations, he continues, based upon a heap of trigonometrical formulae. No more of those doubtful instruments called theodolites, compasses, alidades, graphometers. No more chains to be lugged about by surveyors as if they were galley slaves through cultivated fields, vineyards, and morasses alike, etc., etc. All right, so we have Mr. Nadar stating the problem with theodolites. Upon instrumentation, he decided not to use theodolites in his career because he considered them to be unreliable. Now, to the illustrious testimony of Samuel Rowbotham in his masterpiece work on Zodiac Astronomy, and I'm on page 40, and I will be proceeding through the document. Quotation. The author has seen and tested this apparent rising of the water and the sea horizon to the level of the eye, and to an eye line at right angles to a plumb line from many different places, the high ground near the racecourse at Brighton in Sussex, from several hills in the Isle of Wight, various places near Plymouth, looking towards the Eddystone Lighthouse, the, quote, steep holm, unquote, in the Bristol Channel, the hill of Howth and Ireland's Eye near Dublin, various parts of the Isle of Man, Arthur's Seat near Edinburgh, the cliffs at Tinnemouth, the rocks at Cromer in Norfolk, from the top of Nelson's Monument at Great Yarmouth, and from many other elevated positions. But in Ireland, in Scotland, and in several parts of England, he has been challenged by surveyors to make use of the theodolite, or ordinary spirit level, to test this appearance of the horizon. It was affirmed that through this instrument, when leveled, the horizon always appeared below the crosshair, as shown in figure 30, C, the crosshair, and H, the horizon. Okay? Now, I mean, this is exactly what Red's Rhetoric and Wolfie show us to this very day. Have they read Rowbotham's section here, where he's going to rip them a new one? You know, you go on my playlist on my YouTube channel, I take you all the way from the beginning of these people's tradition all the way up until today. I give you a total history of science, explaining all the philosophy, the metaphysics behind it. I mean, I have given almost 20 years of my life to this research, thousands upon thousands of hours, countless thousands of hours of research. And we're seeing that these men on the internet, Wolfie, Red's Rhetoric, etc., don't even read the primary literature of our tradition. Not even the first book, okay? Because Rowbotham's about to rip these boys a new one, okay? Continuing, and he's actually going to vindicate a lot of the research I've been doing, which I've been getting a lot of pushback from even flat earthers. Zetetic boys, My optical imagery. My optical imagery. Continuing. In every instance when the experiment was tried, this appearance was found to exist, but it was noticed that different instruments gave different degrees of horizontal depression below the crosshair. Okay? The author saw at once that this peculiarity depended upon the construction of the instrument. So, see, he's getting into the things I've been talking about, the problems of optical imagery. Okay? A lot of you boys, I got a lot of pushback from flat earthers on that. Here we have the master in the flat earth movement, Samuel Botham, the master, is admitting what I'm saying. He ascertained that in those of the very best construction and of the most perfect adjustment, there existed a certain degree of refraction, or as is called technically, collimation, or a slight divergence of the rays of light from the axis of the eye on passing through the several glasses of the Theodolite. See? Problems involved with optical imagery. I've been going on about this for months after month. And, oh, Drake, don't bring that stuff up, man, about the problems in optical imagery, man. What are you talking about, dude? It's true. And here we have more confirmation of it. He therefore obtained an iron tube about 18 inches in length. One end was closed except a very small aperture in the center, and at the other end the crosshairs were fixed. A spirit level was then attached, and the whole carefully adjusted. On directing it from a considerable elevation towards the sea, and looking through the small aperture at one end, the crosshair at the opposite end was seen to cut, or to fall close to the horizon as shown in figure 31, as you can see here. This has been tried in various places and at different altitudes, and always with the same result, showing clearly that the horizon visible below the crosshair of an ordinary leveling instrument is the result of refraction from looking through the various glasses of the telescope, for on looking through an instrument in every respect the same in construction, except being free from lenses, a different result is observed, and one precisely the same as seen from a balloon, from any promontory, and in experiments at Brighton shown in figure 27, page 39. Again, remember when I brought up the stuff about Helmholtz's physiological optics, showed how, the modern optical imagery is based on theoretical fictions. Right? You watch my documentaries on astronomy and geometry. I put so many hundreds of hours of research into that, showing you guys in painstaking detail the problems with optical imagery. I got a lot of pushback from flat earthers. Mezoteticism! Drake, mezoteticism! You got problems, dude. The master's on my side. You can see the master's on my side, not yours. Okay? These comparative experiments cannot fail to satisfy any unbiased observer that in every leveling instrument where lenses are employed, there is of necessity, watch this, more or less divergence of the line of sight from the true or normal axis, and that however small the amount, perhaps inappreciable in short lengths of observation, it is considerable in distances of several miles. Every scientific surveyor of experience is fully aware of this and other peculiarities in all such instruments, and is always ready to make allowances for them in important surveys. As a still further proof of this behavior of the telescopic leveling instruments, the following simple experiment may be tried. Select a piece of ground, a terrace, promenade, line of railway, or embankment, which shall be perfectly horizontal for, say, 500 yards. Let a signal staff, 5 feet high, be erected at one end, and a theodolite, or spirit level, fixed and carefully adjusted to exactly the same altitude at the other end. The top of the signal will then be seen a little below the crosshair, although it has the same actual altitude and stands upon the same horizontal foundation. If the positions of the signal staff and the spirit level be then reversed, the same result will follow. So that's devastating. Notice he makes a very prominent emphasis to make sure that you're at the same altitude, that your objects are at the same altitude, okay? Another proof will be found in the following experiment. Select any promontory, pier, lighthouse, gallery, or small island, and at a considerable altitude, place a smooth block of wood or stone of any magnitude. Let this be leveled. If then the observer will place his eye close to the block and look along its surface toward the sea, he will find that the line of sight will touch the distant horizon. Now let any number of spirit levels or theodolites be properly placed and accurately adjusted, and it will be found that in every one of them, the same sea horizon will appear in the field of view considerably below the crosshairs, thus proving that telescopic instrumental readings are not the same as those of the naked eye, unquote. I have said that. What have I been saying for months now? I said it over and over and over again. I showed you, I moved all the way from the beginning of Galileo's work, moved you all the way up until 20th century optical imagery, pointing this stuff out. No, Drake, mesoteticism. Now, look at the master. The master's agreeing with me. He's not agreeing with you. This stuff just bothers me. Spend all this time, hundreds of hours, poring over these scholarly documents, showing you guys this stuff, and all I get, nuh-uh. It's flat earthers and globe earthers. Mesoteticism. Scientific optics. You guys have too high of an opinion of science. Too high. Okay? And theoretical notions concerning light. You have too high of your theories. Next, Robotham actually takes a citation from this work here, a treatise on mathematical instruments by J.F. Heather, M.A. of the Royal Military Academy. This is a standard work on optics in the optical imagery in the 19th century. And he makes this quotation dealing with collimination. Okay, I think this is from page 103 of that work. Quote, the instrument will now be in complete practical adjustment for level, curvature, and horizontal refraction for any distance, watch this, not exceeding 10 chains. That's 220 yards. The maximum error being only 1/1000th of a foot. So the work here is telling you that, you know, this instrument is only good for like 220 yards. And we're seeing these guys use this instrument. Take, for instance, Wolfie. He's using this instrument to determine the horizon thousands and thousands of feet from his position. And, I mean, the documentation in the 19th century from experts in the field saying that this is only good for like 220 yards. Now, Robotham continues, this is on page 265 of his masterpiece work, Zetetic Astronomy, on tangential horizon. Quote, if a theodolite is placed on the seashore, leveled, and directed towards the sea, the line of the horizon will be a given amount below the crosshair, and a certain dip or inclination from the level position will have to be made to bring the crosshair and the sea horizon together. If the theodolite is similarly fixed but at a greater altitude, the space between the crosshair and the sea horizon and the dip of the instrument to bring them together is also greater. From the above, which is perfectly true, it has been concluded that the surface of the earth is convex, and that the sight over the sea tangential. As a proof that such is not the case, the following experiment may be tried. Quote, place a theodolite on an eminence near the sea, level and directed over the water when the horizon will be seen a little below the crosshair or center of the telescope as shown in the diagram, figure 30. Page 41, and from the cause there assigned, viz. Collimation or refraction. Now let the instrument be inclined downward until the crosshair touches the horizon as shown in figure 31, page 41, and the following diagram, page 92. If the theodolite had a simple tube without lenses, see that? Without lenses. He's showing you problems with optical imagery. The master, okay, confirming the research of the Southern Israelite, instead of a telescope which causes the appearance shown in the horizon, would be seen in a line with the crosshair or axis of the eye, as at A, figure 92, and the amount of dip required to bring the crosshair and the horizon in contact with each other will be represented by the angle ATS, to which must be added the collimation. In every instance where the experiment has been specially tried, the dip without the collimation only amounted to the angle ATS, thus proving that the surface of the sea, SB, is horizontal, because parallel to the line AT, if the water is convex, the line of sight AT would be a tangent, and the dip to the horizon would be TH, represented by the angle ATH. This angle ATH is never observed, but always ATS. plus collimation or divergence produced by the lenses in the telescope of the theodolite. Hence, the surface of the waters is everywhere horizontal. Thus, the words collimation, divergence, refraction, etc. have many times been used in connection with this part of the subject, and the following very simple experiment will exhibit what is meant and show its influence in practice. Take a magnifying glass or a convex lens and hold it over a straight line drawn across a sheet of paper. If the line is drawn longer than the diameter of the lens, that part of it which is outside the lens will have a different position to that seen through it, as shown in the following diagram 93, as you can see here. Instead of the line going uninterruptedly through the lens in the direction AB, it will diverge and appear at 1, 2, or it will appear above the line AB, as at 3, 4 if the lens is held to the slightest amount above or below the actual center. A lens is a magnifying glass because it dilates or spreads out from its center the objects seen through it, unquote. Okay? So he's showing you the problems with optical imagery. And I have shown you many times and got nothing but a bunch of butt hurt and nuh-uh, not only from heliocentrists, but also from flat earthers. Now we see again, this is from James Williamson's Surveying and Fieldwork. And he has a section here on the error from incorrect adjustment of line of collimation, showing that error comes in when the objects are at different elevations. And we also see here, again, more problems that will be brought about from collimation when the points are at widely different elevations. So you have here with Wolfie's so-called demonstration of the horizon dropping with a theodolite. It is utterly unreliable. It is subject to the endless problems of optical imagery that I have documented in great detail on this channel, and it is also subject to the problems of the different elevations. And not only the different elevations, but also the distance between the object being observed and the observer. Not to mention the fact, not only is he taking this at 45,000 feet, he's also taking the theodolite reading through another glass, through the windshield of his airplane. So, this is a thorough refutation of the ridiculous heliocentrist excuses and butthurt that will be brought about when I have demonstrated the observations of the horizon rising to eye level from the work of James Glaisher, professional scientist, heliocentrist himself, admitting that all experience would show us that the Earth is a plane, that the heliocentric model predicted that we should see a drop of the horizon and curvature at the altitude that he was at, and we saw the exact opposite, which he admits in his work. And the ridiculous, pathetic excuse of the theodolite is utterly refuted. Southern Israelites signing off. Peace.